America may have just seen a taste of what Donald Trump's management style in the Oval Office will look like. Yesterday, he tweeted, "Someone incorrectly stated that the phrase 'drain the swamp' was no longer being used by me. Actually, we will always be trying to DTS." Who could he possibly have been talking about? Turns out that someone was Newt Gingrich, the vice chairman of Trump's transition team. Here's what Gingrich said that annoyed the president-elect.
I'm told he now disclaims that. He now says it was cute, but he doesn't want to use it anymore.
He doesn't want to use "drain the swamp" anymore.
I don't know. I saw somebody sent me that note last night because I'd written what I thought was a very cute tweet about the alligators are complaining, and somebody wrote back and said they were tired of hearing this stuff.
But after word spread to Trump, Gingrich had an immediate change of heart.
I talked this morning with President-elect Donald Trump, and he reminded me he likes draining the swamp. I mischaracterized it the other day. He intends to drain the swamp. He even describes it as DTS. So I want all of you to know I goofed. Draining the swamp is in.
Joining me now, Red Alert Politics senior contributor Gianno Caldwell and political analyst Gina Loudon. So Gianno, if someone on your team does something wrong, is this a good way of handling it? What do you think this says about the way that President-elect Trump will manage things when he's in the Oval Office?
Well, I think it is appropriate to set the record straight, especially him being the next president of the United States, and that was one of his central themes. But I also think that this is the result of a hypersensitive, media headline-driven society, which takes not what a person really says, they take it out of context to get more clicks. And it's disappointing because just like we saw a national story today, because they want to paint Donald Trump as a liar, they said, oh, Donald Trump says that he's 6'3", but his driver's license says that he's 6'2". It's become so ridiculous that you can't even trust what the media says anymore. And if you really fully heard the clip by Newt Gingrich, it was in somewhat complimentary to the president by saying, hey, if he wants to drain the swamp, drop that, then as a good soldier, I'm going to listen to my leader and I'm going to drop it as well. So again, I'm glad that Donald Trump took to social media to talk about this, but something has to change with our media because they're attacking him every way they can.
Yeah, I agree. And I always thought with this that there's no real change in the underlying issue. It's just the way that it was being discussed. But Gina, what do you think? This is just one example, isn't it, of how Trump seems to like running things, you know, speaking directly, cutting through the BS and just getting to the point and taking action. Is that something that you think will carry through when he's president?
Absolutely. He has his own management style, and those of us who have studied business or studied the psychology of business and management styles can really appreciate what he did here. When someone whom he doesn't perceive to be on his team criticizes him, he immediately criticizes, lashes back at that person publicly. But when someone like Newt Gingrich criticizes or says something that he doesn't agree with, it's a private matter, a sort of one-minute manager style, if you will. He takes Newt aside, says, this is what happened, this is how I want you to correct it. And we're done, and it's over. And you have to appreciate that, because I think we have a lot of politicians out there who've never really been in business, don't really have a good, solid management strategy. Yeah. But President-elect Trump is proving again and again that he, in fact, has one, is willing to use it, and it'll be effective.
Well, honestly, Gina, I thought that was such a great distinction that you made about the difference between doing something to someone who's on your team privately and the difference with publicly. Gianna, did you have something to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and I would agree with Dr. Lydon there. Gina, I would agree with you by saying an example was Air Force One, where he said, hey, this thing is costing us too much money. We have to change something immediately. Right. And they say, hey, we can give you 2 planes for the cost of 1. So I think that speaks volumes to what we're looking to see moving forward. And I know the businesses have been put on notice that Mr. Trump is not your typical everyday go politician and is going to allow for the same deal making that has been going on for decades to exist in his administration. So I'm excited about that.
So Gina, it sounds to me like you've got a really good take on how to make government work properly and get through all the bureaucrats. Have you got any plans to be getting involved yourself?
Well, as a wife of someone who is a former state senator from Missouri, I can tell you I like this side of politics, the press side, where we get to write about them better than I like being on the inside. But I do love the approach of the Trump team here. They seem to have the trifecta of the business approach, definitely the psychology of what happens inside of management styles, and the marketing ability to sell their ideas to the American public. This is why America said, hey, a businessman. There's an idea. And I think this is what initially got some people on the Trump train early. And so it's nice to see some of it coming to fruition.
It's a great summary. Thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, coming up,
Thank you.
China.